All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Mad buffering? Is it still buffering? Is it settling down? Crackling? Dang it! Is anybody else hearing crackling? The crackle is backle. We're live on Rockfin. Hey, Rockfinners, how you doing? Good to see you. We're live on Callin. Hey, Callin people, how you doing? Good to see you. Okay. Check, check. All right, we're going to play the messed up sound with StreamYard game today. Is that what we're going to do? How's it going? Love is in your head. How you doing? Is it better? Okay, good. All right, we're live. StreamYard. Man, that was a pretty big, I don't know what you would call it, breakdown yesterday when we went to Rockfin. All right. Well, let's start off, welcome to the Doom Loop. Dead trees in Minnesota, northern Minnesota. Yeah, there are a lot of trees. Again, I've said this so many times. I've noticed in my city, there are trees that once were big, bushy, kind of canopies over many streets. This is what Pasadena and Altadena is known for, is being, filled with trees. It's a very green place. Everybody loves it here because of the green. And what I'm noticing is a lot of the trees are shrinking, right? And you know why they're shrinking? Because the leaves are getting burned off of the top of the trees when it's very warm. It's not, we're not warm now, and there are many theories on why. It could be heat, UV, a combination of both. Who knows? So what happens is the leaves fall off the top of the trees, and leaving these weird dead branches sticking out. And then the city comes by and chops off all the weird sticking out dead branches, and then you have smaller trees. So the trees are going like this. It's a very interesting phenomenon. I notice it because I'm paying attention. Other people probably are not, even because it happens kind of somewhat slowly. It's not a quick happening event. Although a few years ago it was really hot. I'd say 2017, 18, 19, and even into 20, we had a couple of years where in the summer we had just these horrendous heat waves. I remember 17 being very bad. I want to say it was 17 and 18 being very bad. But we're really, really heavy heat waves in LA during the summer. And you notice the trees and all the trees quickly turning brown. Anyways. Right now we are in some weird, prolonged, heavy June gloom. Like the heaviest June gloom I've ever experienced in my life. I grew up here. Everybody that I've talked to is like, this is, nobody has ever experienced this before. This is very strange. So chalk one up for weather weirding or weather anomalies. But anyways, let's get into this article that Obsolete Optics sent me. The Young and the Hopeless. I don't know. This might be a little bit depressing. Just a warning for the people out there. Young people are imagining a different future. My brother turned 30 recently. He lives with my dad. He has a job. He works nights. Oh, you guys can't see this. He works nights, he works mornings, he works weekends, he works whenever his boss tells him. His boss is a computer. He says, it's not like I've got anything better going on. He doesn't date. He doesn't plan on starting a family. He reads about technology. He buys cryptocurrency. He waits. When you ask him what he plans on doing with his life, he shrugs. This, he says. He plans on hanging out and taking care of our dad. We're trying to move back so we can help out. My friends are all making similar plans. The same goes for my students. They work. They take care of someone. They vote. If they aren't scheduled to work all day, they read. They downsize their expectations. I have yet to meet any of these selfish, entitled millennials or Zoomers the media keeps telling me about. Everyone seems to be working all the time and doing the best they can to get by. They're not really looking at the future. They don't want to talk about it. They're waiting for something to change, for better or worse. They're waiting for something to happen. Anyone who still cares about the future has given up on the system. They get it. There's no FDR coming to rescue this time. To the rescue. Even if they still vote, they regard politics as a useless pantomime, or useful if you're in politics. It's all driven by corporate interests, dark money, and fossil fuels. They aren't buying vote blue anymore. Well, let's hope. I see plenty of people still buying it. Give me some of that good old blue Kool-Aid. Goes down smooth. They understand voting for what it is, keeping fascists out of power a little longer. Okay. Or in power, if you actually understand what's going on, that you're keeping them in power. I thought we were clear on that. Anyways. They're working on the margins, in the margins now. They're working at a local level. They're building communities. A lot of them aren't trying to stop the worst of climate change anymore. They're focused on survival. They don't mean their own survival. They mean the survival of humanity or even life itself. They're not building underground bunkers. They're building homesteads. It's the only way. I know a few people trying to get to the mountains. One of my friends recently got a job in Appalachia. During her campus visit, the hiring committee brought up climate change as a recruiting point. One professor took her aside after lunch. His voice slid into a conspiratorial hush as he talked about the elevation. You'll be safer up here. I know, she whispered. My friend faces a different kind of problem now. She can't afford a house. She's a department chair. That was a job she was interviewing for. Now she's there doing the job, watching the median home price jump higher and higher. Over the last 6 months, it's gone up more than $200,000. It's heading for $700,000. $700,000 median home price. Almost a cool mill. Honestly, she feels cheated. She doesn't feel cheated by the hiring committee. She feels cheated by everyone. By the way, good call, Creative. Was it Creative Experiments? Who mentioned that the Fed was going to raise the rate today. Good call. Because they were saying they were trying to signal or hint that they wouldn't raise rates, and they did. So, although what effect it had on this, on anything, I don't know. I mean, the overall effect will be bad. On the economy, I think. I don't know. Some people have different takes. I don't want to get off into a economics alley right now, but so I won't. She feels cheated by everyone. She laughs about it. My friend has published 3 books with major university presses. She's won several teaching and research awards. She used to edit one of our flagship journals. It doesn't matter. The real estate market is choking her family. I feel like I'm sinking, she says. I'll be renting forever. She doesn't talk about it much except with her closest friends. She knows it's pointless to speak up. She knows the comments she'll get. You should have chosen a different career. You should have moved somewhere else. You should have joined OnlyFans. What? That's how it goes for the vast majority of us under 50. Our parents and their generation didn't do anything wrong. It's our fault. We're lazy. We're entitled. We're selfish. We want participation trophies. We don't know how to work. And yet it feels like that's all we ever do. We're constantly told that society owes us nothing, even as we're expected to keep society going for everyone else. The other day I was talking about the enormous debt college grads face. I said young people weren't trying to get rich. They went to college to become nurses, teachers, social workers, and civil engineers. Someone told me they were greedy for wanting those jobs. They could have become a janitor, she said. Teenagers cry for help on TikTok. They beg their leaders for action. What do their leaders do? They ban TikTok. They try to raise the voting age while lowering the working age. You can serve them beer if you're 16, but you have no say in the future. All things considered, it's no wonder young people feel depressed and hopeless. Nobody listens to them. Another one of my friends moved to the outskirts of Appalachia last year. She runs a program that serves 10,000 students. Like my other friend, she's published books and won awards. She married a banker. Together they make 6 figures. They're getting by. They decided against having kids. Between our student loans and climate change, it just feels sort of pointless. Oh, they didn't raise rates? I thought they raised it a quarter point. Oh, hold on. Hold on while we verify. I swear to God, I was just looking at something that says they rated it. Let's see. Am I wrong? Sorry if I gave you. Why did I see that they gave I was looking at Barron's just earlier, and they said they raised a quarter point. Oh, they skipped a rate hike. Okay, all right. So Creative Experiment. Sorry, you were not. How is it that I saw it? Hey, thanks for the info. I appreciate that. Cyrus, thank you. Dang. That's what I get for looking at the internet, looking something up. I was looking at the rate hike thing, and it said they raised it by a quarter point. And I swear to God, I was looking at today's news. So maybe I misread it. Maybe they said they were going to raise it a quarter point. I don't know. Anyways, they didn't. Okay, so whatever. I guess that's good news, right? Some people might see that as good news. But I stand corrected. So thank you for letting me know. All right. Well, let's get back to this article. I love to be the news guy that gives you bad news or the wrong news, I guess. But I am also capable of correcting myself. So there you go. All right. Anyways, she married a banker. Together they make 6 figures. They're getting by. They decided against having kids. Between our student loans and climate change, it just feels sort of pointless. She was planning to travel the world, but then the pandemic happened. Her parents got COVID, and now they're dying. She splits her time between work and hospitals now. That's how she'll spend her 40s. She knows it. If you really pay attention to young people around the world, they're not lazy or entitled. They're working long hours at difficult jobs. They're preparing to take care of their parents if they're not already doing it. They don't even expect an inheritance. When their parents die, they know there's a good chance they'll have to sell their homes to pay enormous medical and hospice bills. They cross their fingers and hope a collection agency doesn't come after the little money they have left. They don't have savings. They have a piggy bank. They look at the state of healthcare. They see all the nurses quitting. They see the rising costs. They see the shortage of cancer drugs. They see the falling life expectancy and quality of life. They know that if they get sick, they're as good as dead. That's their future now. They just hope the government doesn't raid their 401ks to pay their student loans. They're hoping their lives end with a little bit of dignity. That's all they want. My little circle of friends catches up every few months. We used to get tipsy and make jokes about the zombie apocalypse. We predicted who'd get eaten first and who would turn into Negan. You all know who Negan is. Negan? He's a bad man. Over the last few years, those conversations have gotten weird. The jokes have gravity to them now. Most of them are trying to get out of the big cities, even if they have to commute. They're giving up on having kids. They're giving up on retirement. They're trying to find safe, remote jobs that don't require them to venture out into large crowds. They're looking for cooler, higher ground. Look at almost any survey. Young people aren't exactly looking forward to the future. They're anticipating it with shades of dread. They're preparing for it. They don't know what exactly what it will be. It could be the next pandemic or a fascist takeover. It could be a wildfire or an ocean boiler. You know that there's already a fascist takeover. You know that. Just dear OK Doomer girl. You know that. It is already done. It is already happening. You have to stop the one that's already in progress. You can't prevent the one that's going to happen because it's already in progress. It could be a wildfire or an ocean boiler. It could be war with China provoked by corporate oligarchs. Or it could be several of these things happening at the same time, a kind of super disaster. That they can't afford bunkers and they know it. They can barely afford apartments. They're trying. A lot of young people remain politically active. They vote, they read, they teach, they advocate. They work for nonprofits. They work in the justice system. They conserve water and electricity. They don't go on to elaborate vacations. They don't have the money. They're still making an effort, but they're making backup plans the best they can. They're not just making practical ones. They're bracing themselves. They're trying to figure out how to live in this purgatory. They're not exactly opting out. They're divesting. They're tired. Some of them are starting to give up. They're doing it in secret. They aren't telling their bosses and coworkers. They know what they'll get. More lectures about their mental health. More lectures about self-care. I have a couple of friends who've decided nothing matters. They're not saving for anything anymore. They're just going to party it up while they can. They know it looks irresponsible. Then again, they know the facts better than most. One of them used to be extremely politically active. Everywhere you look, one thing holds true. Young people are fed up. I want to stop right there, though, and say and mention, right, the whole thing about not having no agency, right, encouraging people, to give up or not vote or not participate or not protest. This seems to be a message that people are getting, and I'm a little tired of it. That people are being encouraged, especially by the alternative, the alternative news people are telling you, like, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. We're giving you the inside dope, the straight dope. We're giving you what's real, what's new, what is the real news, and yet we're encouraging you not to participate. I don't know. Scott Andrews says, I thought about moving to the Pacific Northwest, but the wildfire risk changed my mind. Well, yeah. Well, what's also interesting is that, the old idea, the old common logic that you would move north to escape climate change is actually, north seems to get hit worse than south these days, right? Because the jet stream is all screwed up. So you have heat waves in Canada and wildfires in Canada and Pacific Northwest, and you have, right, these cataclysms happening. You have it, the rise in temperatures in the northern latitudes is, much higher percentage-wise than the rise in temperatures even in the southern latitudes. But the temperatures are all rising. So where do you go? I don't know. Russ Taylor, yes, I like that. A wise man might say, participate, but without any expectation of self-benefit. Or just participate because doing the right thing is doing the right thing. It's kind of like, it's like anything else. It's like giving a gift or doing something for somebody. If you expect something in return, that's not giving. If you expect, you give because you want to give, right? And it's nice when somebody's appreciative of that gift. But if you hold the giving of that gift or that love or whatever it might be over somebody's head all the time, then that's not necessarily giving, is it? However, the flip side of that is if you're being taken advantage of, then you could say, I'm going to stop giving you these things because you're taking advantage of me. I think that's totally fine too. Again, discernment is key. There's a revolution underway, but it's not a violent one. What's the point? We're long past the time that would have made a difference. Besides, I don't know anyone who wants to get mauled by a robot or gassed by a drone. Do you? Unlike previous moments in history, the rich and powerful have prepared for massive social unrest. They've got private armies, they've got bombs, they've got robots and assault weapons. They've got a militarized police force with armored vehicles. Conventional uprising doesn't stand a chance. I think young people get it. You can relax. Some of us have discovered the secret. Capitalism is going to fall apart on its own. It doesn't need us to overthrow it. The collapse is already well underway. The billionaires can fight it all they want. They can spew out propaganda 24/7. It won't matter. Meanwhile, young people are biding their time. They're doing the bare minimum. They're taking care of those around them. They're building local ties. They're saving what they can. They're getting rest, and they're waiting. Pretty good. Thank you, Obsolete Optics, for sending that to me. Oh, I like that last couple of sentences here. I mean, I think that's true. Capitalism is going to fall apart on its own, right? The billionaires can fight it all they want. The whole thing about they're going to surveil you and control you and, put you in a digital prison. All right. I mean, maybe. I don't doubt it that that's what they want to do. But I do think it's going to be hard to do that when the chaos is going to affect the people in control as much as anybody else, right? How you doing, Rockfinners? How are you? I see you. Got people hanging out on Rockfin. Please like up the videos. Wherever you're watching this video, please give it a like and a pinch on the cheek. Just start saying weird stuff like that. I'm gonna rip off another YouTuber, say weird stuff about the like button. They're doing it in China. Oh, they certainly are. Yes, they are. Yeah, I mean, they're going to try, and I think we should resist the efforts. But I don't think that they're going to be. I think that things will eventually kind of spin out of the ability to control everything. But Cyrus, they are doing it in China. If you're watching, I don't know if you follow that channel, Cyrus. The Song Ping. I don't know how to say the name of it, where they post videos of like the surveillance state in China. It is very alarming. It's quite alarming. It's good to know what's happening in other parts of the world. From Doomer Girl News. I'm sorry about all the doom in the beginning of this video. It's just doom, doom, doom. The materials used by humans now weigh more than all life on Earth. And this isn't new news. This isn't a new story. This is June 13th, 2023. However, this is not a new story. It's not new news. The materials used by humans now weigh more than all life on Earth. The extent of humanity's influence on the planet has become increasingly clear in recent years. From the alarming accumulation of plastic waste in our oceans to the sprawling growth of urban areas, The size of our impact is undeniable. The concept of the technosphere aims to reveal the immense scale of our collective impact. The concept was first introduced by U.S. geologist Peter Haff in 2013, but paleobiologist Jan Zalowitz has since popularized the term through his work. The technosphere encompasses the vast global output of materials. Technosphere. You would think that might mean something different, right? Wendy DeLee says the recent government push in China is to make more babies. Of course. More babies mean more profit. I mean, I don't know how anybody can't tie that together simply. A growing economy needs a growing population. You need a growing consumer base. That's just like so utterly basic. If your consumer base is shrinking, then so are your profits. That is just basic. That is like the most basic of math. That's just 2 minus 1 or 2 plus 2. It is the most basic of math. And so, won't go off on that either. Anyway, since the agricultural revolution some 12,000 years ago, when we started building cities and accumulating goods, human enterprise has steadily grown. However, our impact has surged dramatically over the past couple of centuries, I'll say. The surge has since transformed into exponential growth, particularly since 1950. The technosphere is indicative of how humans are increasingly emerging as a global force on par with the natural systems that shape the world. The transformation that is needed to reduce our impact is therefore equally large, and yet, despite growing awareness, there has been a lack of concrete action to address humanity's impact on the planet. To comprehend the sheer magnitude of the technosphere, it is best visualized. So here are 4 graphs that capture how our collective addiction to stuff is progressively clogging up the planet Earth. Weighing the technosphere. In 2020, a group of Israeli academics presented a shocking fact. Right, we covered this before. The combined mass of all materials currently utilized by humanity has surpassed the total mass of all living organisms on Earth. According to their findings, the collective weight of all life on Earth, the biosphere, ranging from microbes in the soil to trees and animals on land, stands at 1.12 trillion tons. While the mass of materials actively used by humans, including concrete, plastic, and asphalt, weighed in at 1.15 trillion tons. The technosphere weighs more than all life on Earth. Kind of what Joseph alludes to. You all know Joseph. The energy in moving all that mass around and creating things out of it is part of the destruction of the planet. Yes, Andre, most here in America are overweight and malnourished. When accounting for the associated byproducts of the materials used by humans, including waste, plowed soil, and greenhouse gases, the geologist and paleontologist Jan Zalowiecki calculated that the technosphere expands to a staggering 30 trillion tons. When accounting for associated byproducts of the materials used by humans, including waste, plowed soil, and greenhouse gases, 30 trillion tons. That's a lot more than 1.15 trillion tons, wouldn't you say? This would include a mass of industrially emitted carbon dioxide equivalent to 150,000 Egyptian pyramids. Imagine. 2, changing the Earth. Remarkably, human activity now dwarfs natural processes in changing the surface of our planet, geoengineering, or terraforming, if you will. The total global sediment load Erosion that is transported naturally each year, primarily carried by rivers flowing into ocean basins, is estimated to be around 30 billion tons on average. However, this natural process has been overshadowed by the mass of material moved through human action, like construction and mining activities. In fact, the mass of material moved by humans surpassed the natural sediment load in the 1990s and has since grown rapidly. In 2015 alone, humans moved approximately 316 billion tons of material, more than 10 times the natural sediment load. Humans changed the Earth's surface more than natural processes in billions of tons. Look at that. 3, transporting stuff. You got to move it around. You got to mine it. You got to dig it up. You got to transport it. You got to move it somewhere, and then somebody makes something out of it, and then they move it somewhere else, and maybe it gets moved somewhere else, and it gets made into something else, and then you move it, and then it gets made into a product, and it gets shipped to a store, and in a store, and somebody drives their car over there, and they buy it, and they get it from the store, and they take it home. And then they use it, or they don't use it, and they throw it in the trash can. And then another car, then somebody else comes and picks it up in a trash truck, and it puts it in the trash, and then takes it to the landfill. You understand? It's a lot of moving around of junk, of basically junk. Our ability to transport fuel and products worldwide has facilitated the trends. It's not junk; it's junk now. It's resources, natural, beautiful, pristine resources that have been turned into junk. For your consumption, though. Everybody needs a need, right? Shipping continues to be the primary mechanism for moving materials around the globe. Our ability to transport fuel and products worldwide has facilitated the trend shown in the preceding graphs. Humans now transport these materials over increasingly vast distances. Since 1990, the amount of materials that are shipped around the world has increased more than threefold and is continuing to grow. How shipping has grown since 1980 in millions of tons. Whoop. Is there a correlation between whoop and all the other whoops, do you think? All right. 4, the growth of plastics. Plastic stands out as one of the main wonder materials of the modern world due to the sheer speed and scale of the growth in plastic manufacturing and use. Plastic is perhaps the metric most representative of the technosphere. The first forms of plastic emerged in the early 20th century, but its mass production began following the Second World War, with an estimated quantity of 2 million tons produced in 1950. However, the global production of plastic had increased to approximately 460 million tons by 2019. This surge in plastic manufacturing is a pressing concern. Plastic pollution now causes many negative impacts on both nature and humans. Ocean plastics, for example, can degrade into smaller pieces and be ingested by marine animals. Plastic manufacturing, million tons, has grown exponentially since 1950. Hey, look, another whoop. Hey, is it another graph that goes whoop? Wow. I wonder if there's a correlation. But there's people out there that are spending a lot of energy telling you that all those whoops don't mean anything. They don't mean a thing. They don't have any effect on the planet at all. It's just made up hooey by the people that want to control you, the whisker twisters. Never mind all the graphs that go whoop. Don't look at those. Those are made up by bad people. The Club of Rome. If the Club of Rome said it, it must be wrong. It must be a hoax. Are you sure? Are you positive? Because it might be a good idea to be really positive about that before you say it and before you believe it. Just saying. Humanity's escalating impact on planet Earth poses a significant threat to the health and security of people and societies worldwide. But understanding the size of our impact is only one part of the story. Equally important is the nature, form, and location of the different materials that constitute the technosphere. Only then can we understand humanity's true impact. For example, even the tiniest materials produced by humans, such as nanoplastics, can have significant and far-reaching consequences. What is clear, though, is that a relentless pursuit of ever increasing material output is overwhelming our planet. All right. Cool. We're all here. We're still here. Rockfenders, how you feeling? How you doing? Checking in on you. Cool. A few more Rockfenders. Like of the video. If you're there, hanging out. Let's do the thing. Best, very, very best way to support the show. Most directest and bestest ways. PayPal.me/Kevin Sandblum. Venmo @Kevin Sandblum. Cash App or $ Red Llama Music. Buymeacoffee.com/Black Bear News. Or you can super chat me, or you can super ray me. Do re me 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 me. Anyways, all the links are in the description boxes. All right. What else we got? Have you seen this one, y'all, on China? Of people being taken up into the air. There's a bunch of people holding on to this canopy. Again, the weather getting weirder and wackier and crazier and wilder and stronger winds. Obsolete optics. Man, what a great comment. Just 8% of the population consumes over 76% of the resources. Yet it's the same 8% that thinks Earth it's the same 8% that thinks Earth is overpopulated. Coincidence? Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's two things at once: overpopulated and overconsumed. But yes, if the 8% that consumes 76% of the resources, but the thing is that we're all consuming, right? We're consuming food, are we not? And agriculture has, the massive scale of our agriculture has to do with, keeping 8 million people alive, right? If we didn't have, and this is, I know this is hard to think about because I just keep showing this on a loop. You guys can just watch these people get flown away. That really sucks, though. The people that hung on, at one point you should probably let go. Whoop! I mean, he didn't really have time, so we can't blame him. That sucks. What was I going to say? If you didn't have the worldwide, the industrial agriculture that we have going, then there wouldn't be 8 billion people on the planet. That is also just math, right? I don't know. But a lot of the consumption is driven by that 8%. Sure. It's kind of like we do live in like a kind of a trickle down theory world, right? Where the uber wealthy, the techno optimists, and the technological elite. I mean, the other thing is, right? Well, their consumption and their standard of living, we'll call it that, the standard of living. Their standard of living drives the quest for the standard of living of the rest of the world, right? They're just like, come on, go this way. It's going to be fun. It's great. It's a great time over here. You know, everybody wants to come to the United States of America. Come on, come over here. It's great. It's awesome. You can, you know, get a job, make a lot of money, go on a cruise, buy a couple of cars, maybe a boat. Come on. It's going to be right. So then everybody else is like, yeah, that's what we want too. Anyways. Erratic rainfall, untimely frosts, droughts and floods, scorching summer temperature. Oh, I can't tell which tab I'm on. This one. Summer temperature and yes, even wildfires and their wind-blown smoke cause havoc for farmers, decimate crops, and make food more expensive. A moment to consider food system collapse. Weren't we just talking about food? This is from the Legal Reader, June 12th. With apocalyptic orange skies come fresh thoughts of climate crisis. Let's take a moment to consider a climate-related food system collapse. And you know that food is awful expensive these days. I'm going to jump down in this. We're hitting the upper limit of how much food modern farming methods can produce. Past technological breakthroughs like the Haber-Bosch process, which fixed atmospheric nitrogen into ammonium nitrate from military and later agricultural purposes, certainly amped up food production. But the rate of technological innovation has slowed. What's more, due to population growth, urbanization, development, desertification, and degradation, there is no longer as much agricultural land on which to grow that food. Second, our industrial culture is breaking the natural world. This is where the effects of air and water pollution, loss of soil fertility, and collapse of pollinator species combine to reduce agricultural yields. Third, modern food cultivation and distribution rely on declining fossil fuels and indeed would not be possible without such unsustainable inputs. What did I just say? Massive centralization of agricultural land in fewer hands means that farmers depend upon diesel-powered machinery to plant, harvest, process, and transport crops. About a third of global energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions can be attributed to modern food production. Fourth, climate change is accelerating faster than expected, therefore making it harder to grow crops and produce food in the large quantities in modern civilization depends on. Extreme weather events like intense storms, droughts, floods, wildfires, and so forth make agriculture less reliable. Failures of multiple breadbasket regions becomes more likely. Fifth, demand for food is high and can't be easily reduced. A growing population fed by a growing food supply now requires a permanently large food supply to feed all those people. Not only do they need more total food, but there's a strong demand for more intensive food products, such as meat and dairy, especially as incomes rise, and people who once lived in poverty have more disposable income. Standard of living, or which is also SOL, right? Standard of living, or shit out of luck. You decide. Which way will you go? All right. Let's see. Looks like Kenya is giving up the dollar. Africa, a lot of countries are giving up the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency, which actually might be worse for inflation than interest rates. Africa says bye to the U.S. dollar. The president of Kenya, Williams Ruto, urges African nations to dump the USD under tumultuous applause. With every nation that rejects USD as a reserve currency, the U.S. government will pay a higher price for printing money. Yeah, if the petrodollar goes away and the reserve currency of the U.S. dollar, as a world reserve currency goes away, I don't know, or just bring in the CBDCs and we'll all be good. Great news. This is from Children's Health Defense. The following bills did not move forward in New York. Minors vaccinated without parental knowledge or consent did not go through. Tracking of medical exemptions. Mandatory tracking of all adult vaccinations. Dentists to administer COVID-19 and flu shots. So that's due to grassroots pressure, as in action, right? What did it take to get those things stopped? It took people getting together and taking some action, right? They did not listen to people tell them, don't do it. No, just stop protesting. So it's done, man. You're done. You're cooked. You just get out of the system. That's all. They didn't listen to that. They pressured them not to do it. Who's going to buy these dollars? And also, I mean, think about if China unloads all the dollars they have. China has a lot of dollars. If China was just like, you know what? Today might be a good day to sell up all these dollars. Whammo. The last protest before it becomes illegal, right? Sure. But, maybe we should be protesting for our right to protest. Maybe people should really get out there, like, do like they do in France. Make a show of it or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? All right, you want to try and read the rest of this article on Wuhan? Because this is going to be the last day that I try to do this. So we're going to move over to Rockfin for the last 10 minutes. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I always like to leave YouTube right when there's, the high point of viewership. Right? Isn't that the best move? But y'all can watch it on replay, and y'all can... you can also watch the rest of this on Rockfin. So, okay, we're going to move to Rockfin. And YouTubers, sayonara, bon voyage.